We did talk about congruent angles a little bit earlier in the previous videos, but we'll talk about more explicitly here. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure or the same openness. So we can have an angle here. Angle A is 45 degrees. And we'll have angle B also 45 degrees. Now notice how I use the same single arc for angles A and B. This is how we indicate that angles are congruent. So let's use another two angles. Angle C and angle D. Here we'll use a double arc to show that angles C and D are congruent. And we'll say that both of them have a measure of 110 degrees. Okay, we can write off to the side that angle A is congruent to angle B, or that the measure of angle A equals the measure of angle B. Similarly, down here we have angle C congruent to angle D, or the measure of angle C equals the measure of angle D, which equals 110. Up here we have A and B equal to 45 degrees. Some of the ways you'll see angles notated, let's look at just one other example. There we go. We put in a bunch of congruent angles here. Okay. We can show A congruent to B using a single mark, C congruent to E using the double, and sometimes you'll see an arc with a little line through it. That's another way to express it, or an arc with two lines through it. There are many ways. The important thing is that you see the same notation expressed for both congruent angles in a pair. So we see A is congruent to B, C is congruent to E, and D is congruent to F. Okay. The last thing we want to talk about is an angle bisector. An angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So if I have, and here we'll use three letters. The measure of angle ABC is equal to 100 degrees. And I tell you that ray BD bisects angle ABC. Go ahead and mark any congruent angles, and then also tell me what the measure of angle ABD is, and the measure of angle DBC. Pause now if you need to. Okay, since BD bisects ABC, we have these two congruent angles, ABD and DBC. Furthermore, since the whole angle is 100 degrees, then each half must be 50 degrees. So we have the measure of angle ABD is 50 degrees, and the measure of angle DBC is also 50 degrees. And that concludes angle bisector. If you have any questions, please review the video or ask me.